On July 21st, 2024, there is a full moon in Capricorn, and this is the second full moon in Capricorn we've had this year. Additionally, this full moon will make a sextile to Neptune at 29 Pisces, and Mars is now in the sign of Gemini. So all this added up says that you have lots and lots of opportunities and different directions to go, but no real clear idea of which path to take. What does this mean for you? That's what we're going to talk about. Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the full moon. It's on July 21st. It's at 29 degrees of Capricorn. We're going to do a short overview and then we're going to go sign by sign. So Neptune's now retrograde at 29 Pisces, and this makes a sextile to the full moon and of course a trine to the sun. And so this is a wonderfully psychic, creative energy that you can use to write poetry or music or do art if you can get off the sofa. So this is a desire to do and express all of these things, and yet there is also a sense of maybe energy draining away or some apathy or just a feeling like you're not really sure about how to implement what it is you want to do, how to express what it is that you want to express. Now, of course, it's so much easier to just escape, and Neptune at 29 Pisces gives you a world of different escapes. And so instead of doing the things that your soul is calling you to do, you may just escape. At the same time, Mars is now in Gemini, and that means that your life is speeding up. There are more opportunities, more different paths to take. There's so much more information, and you're trying to process all of this. And so you can feel like you're grasping hold of different ideas and getting irritated because other people may disagree with you, or you might get into contentious arguments because there are different ideas or ideals that you are holding on to. And so all of this can stop you from, again, this creative psychic process of having this good energy from Neptune, because you are so busy defending something that may not actually be what you want to defend, or that you are so scattered by so many different opportunities and so many different roads to take. So the solution to this is to use the Neptune to be creative. And one of the things that you can do is an exercise that I get both from Tim Ferriss and Byron Katie, which I know you probably didn't expect those two names in the same sentence. And so, but it is to look at whatever it is that you are really stuck on, where it feels like you can't get past something, and look at the opposite of that. So this is about taking whatever catch-22 is mentally getting you stuck and turning it around, turning that sentence around. So it may be something like, I want to get a job, but I don't have experience, and I can't get experience without getting the job. That's a traditional catch-22. So take the sentence and then start turning it around, and this will inspire you creatively to look for different solutions. So to turn this sentence around, you might say, I can get a job because I lack experience, or I can't get a job because I have experience, or anyone can get a job with a lack of experience, or no one can get a job when they have experience. By turning the sentence around, your brain starts to get unstuck. And then the universe can send in new ideas and new information to help you on your path. So this full moon energy lasts for 2 weeks, but Mars will be in Gemini until September 4, and Neptune won't even start, being in Aries until end of March 2025. So there's plenty of time to work on this. In this video, we are doing tropical Western astrology. It's a good idea to listen to your rising sign, because that's going to give you the most accurate predictions. If you don't know your rising sign, I can send you a PDF of your chart. There's a link in the description. If you have been studying astrology and you are very interested in the personal finance side of astrology, I have a video course. It's called Finding the Hidden Money in Your Chart. This course is focused on the energies of the second house, 8th house, and 11th house, and how you can utilize those to not only make money, but accumulate money. And so there's a link in the description. And if you are interested in learning more about what's ahead for you, I do readings. When you go to the link in the description, you will be taken to my website, and there you will see the prices and all that. Once you schedule, we'll send you a little questionnaire to fill out, and then I can prepare your charts, and we will sit down and do a video conference. And it's a live session, and so if you're interested, the link is in the description. Okay, let's go sign by sign. Okay, Aries, this full moon is at the top of your chart, and it means that there is something that you need to finish up regarding either something about your career, your business, or your status, how other people see you in the world, or this may be something to do with some responsibility or obligation that you have that you need to finish up over this next 2-week period. Now, Mars is traveling through your area of communication and busy activity, and so it's quite possible that whatever it is that you need to finish up is some sort of communication like marketing, or maybe you're launching a product or a website or something. So this is very much about getting some communication out there. Now, with the Mars at 0 degrees, you may not know exactly what to say, and that's when you just start putting things on paper, or start typing things out, and then sometimes it's easier once you get started just to edit. So, but this does say that the pressure to finish something is going to be very strong. I think that the conflict that you may be feeling inside is that Aries wants to do it quickly, but the full moon in Capricorn wants to do it perfectly. And so finding that sweet spot between what you can get done in the amount of time that you have versus holding this over for another cycle and not finishing it because it's not perfect. And so, and I do believe in trying to make something the best you can, but there is also the constraint of time. And so therefore you have to find the balance between these two. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the Sun's making a very nice out-of-sign sextile with Mars. So there is an opportunity to meet someone for a love relationship. Now, this is full moon energy, so it's likely you have seen this person in passing before, or you've just started talking to them, but you haven't actually officially met. So this is a continuation of some energy that was started before. But the sextile is very nice energy, and so you could meet them during this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there's no aspect going on between Venus and Mars, so there's a little bit of a disconnect between the two of you. And some of that is because now Mars is in a new sign, and so you may be focused on doing something that's different, or very focused on getting something finished, as we were talking before. And so you're not necessarily paying a lot of attention to each other. And and sometimes, like in an understanding couple, that can be okay. But, if your partner starts to feel your absence, you may just want to reach out to them and say, hey, I'm still here. I'm just working on something else. And, I'm caught up in stuff. And, they're doing this full moon too, so they could be caught up in something themselves. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Venus, which is now traveling through your area of creativity and risk-taking. And the levels of different risk that you could take in this case, go from the wildly leveraged crazy investments to just taking a personal risk of maybe picking up the phone and asking for the sale or asking for a favor or checking in to see if you can get an interview. So you don't have to do the big dice roll. In fact, there's not enough energy here for that. This is more about finishing up energy. So it's more about maybe completing something that is a small thing, but still pulls you out of your comfort zone. So you think of the normal things that a person does in business, and then you think of the thing that you don't really want to do. Maybe that's the thing to do. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, nor is it making an aspect with Mars. So this may be a period of time where more money is going out than coming in. That could be you're buying equipment, or you have regular recurring bills, or you're paying off vendors or things like that. And you know that money will be coming in the future, but this may be a time where you're not making as much money as usual. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, it's a bit of a different story, because even though Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus, Uranus is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus. So we have a hidden aspect. And Uranus is, of course, in a money house for you. So that bodes well for the potential of starting that conversation, or more accurately, as it's a full moon, continuing that conversation about whether you can make more money or get better commission schedule or get some sort of perk that offsets the cash that you're not getting. So you can continue the conversation you already started about this and make some good headway. Okay, Taurus, this full moon is lighting up your area of legal matters, also travel, personal philosophy. This is about education. And so these are the things, when I mention these different categories, think of the things that maybe you need to finish up in one of these areas. So legal matters doesn't necessarily mean a lawsuit. It may mean that your driver's license is about to expire, or your passport is expiring. And so taking care of those types of paperwork, this would also include things you have to get notarized, or contracts that you've been working through, or if you need to do continuing education to maintain your professional license. So things like that. This is about finishing up some energy around something like that. And then Mars is now in Gemini, and it's going through your house of money. And so there are some financial opportunities, and it is quite possible that some of these are tied to some of this paperwork that you need to get done. This area is also about marketing. So this might be the time that you're launching a big marketing campaign. So, but the Mars will be in this house as at least till September. So there is some real time for you to make more money in general. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Mars, they are in the same sign. So it's almost like you're in the right area. Maybe you're not talking to the right people quite yet, or you've started a conversation and now it just needs to move forward. Maybe you're waiting for them to make the first move. They're waiting for you to make the first move. So this energy will line up in the future, but right now it feels like the two of you are kind of, you're not quite connecting. You're at a distance from each other, and we need to close that distance. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, nor is it making an aspect with Mars. So the two of you may be a little bit disconnected over this next 2 weeks. And it can be because you're quite busy. But if you think that you're connecting and you're not, like you think that you are fulfilling what your partner needs or being attentive to what they're concerned about, they may be thinking about something entirely different because there's no connection here. And so communication will be very important during this time. Otherwise, it's just possible the two of you are just busy working on other things. And so you may feel a little disconnected from your partner over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is making an exact square to Uranus. And that is what we consider a genius aspect, because Mercury is your thinking process and Uranus is about innovation and doing something unusual or different. And so this is about taking your ideas for whatever business it is or money-making opportunity and kind of turning them on their head. That is, look at the ideas from different angles. What would be the opposite of that? Or if you had much more money and resources, how would you do this idea? If you had no money or resources, how would you do this idea? Like, this is a time to really do the creative thinking. This is going to bring some big opportunities for you. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, even though Mercury's not making an aspect with Jupiter, Jupiter is now in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury, so you have a hidden connection. And so that means that during this entire time that Jupiter will be traveling through Gemini, which is a year, you are going to have more financial opportunities. Now, when it's not making a clear aspect, it does take a little bit of work to find those money opportunities. You have to do the effort. And that's the case here. The money is there. You have to just dig a little bit to find that treasure. But you are going to have multiple opportunities, especially ones that really line up well outside of this 2-week period. But even during this 2 weeks, there are some money opportunities because of this hidden aspect. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mercury is making an inconjunct to Neptune. So that indicates that there is an opportunity to get together with your supervisor to talk about a raise, but you're uncomfortable about it, or it feels like it's not the right time, or there's some sort of obstacle. And maybe this is the best way is to go in talking about something else and then maybe bring it up, or be especially alert in case they bring it up so that you can jump on it and say, yes, let's talk about it. So the inconjunct makes it uncomfortable, but it is still there. It's still an aspect. And so if you already feel uncomfortable about asking for a raise, this is the time to push through that discomfort and ask. Okay, Gemini, this full moon, right at the very last degree of Capricorn, is traveling through your area of power and also resources from others. And so there may be some sort of power play going on in your life, and that is that you feel that someone has control over an aspect of your life. And so this is the time where you could find where you have power or to take back your power. When it comes to resources, it may be that you can get some resources from someone, but they are holding back, or you feel like you have to ask perfectly, that that something about it seems to cause it to wait till the very last minute. And if it's yourself, if you're trying to figure out how to get this, how to ask, how to convince the person to give you those resources, this is something to actively work on. The Capricorn energy really blossoms when you work at it. Now, at the same time, of course, Mars is now in your own sign of Gemini. And so that means that for the next couple of months, you have this higher amount of energy, like everything is going to be moving faster, which I think suits you just fine. And I know that we talk about these air signs and how quick you guys can move anyway, but Gemini is particularly strong in that ability to switch back and forth, almost toggle between two different projects or two different ideas or even two different people. And so now the Mars accelerates that, and so it can actually feel like you're multitasking. And so you may be handling multiple things at once, but everything is moving forward much, much quicker, and I think that suits you just fine. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Venus is not making an aspect with Mercury. However, they are in the same sign. So there is, it's like you're making progress, but you're not necessarily hitting the home run during this time. So, and that is if you're already speaking to this person and you're trying to get a date together, you may not quite get the date together in the 2 weeks, but you're moving closer. You're inching toward it. If you are working on some of the inner stuff going on with you, so that you can clear the way for a relationship to come to you, again, you're making progress. And you may not feel like you're hitting it out of the park, but you are taking steps in the right direction. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, even though Mercury is not making an aspect with Jupiter, Jupiter is now in your sign of Gemini, and which is ruled by Mercury. So you have a hidden aspect. And that means that not just for this 2 weeks, but really going forward for the whole year, and as long as Jupiter is in Gemini, which I think is until June of 2025, that you can get along better and have better communication and more synergy with your partner. And so because we have this hidden connection, it may not be as overt, like you may not be holding hands and skipping through the daisies during the 2 weeks, but there is an understanding between the two of you that you are there to support each other, and so you do have some good energy over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the moon, which is at this critical degree in Capricorn, and so there is a need to focus on investments, passive income sources, insurance, and other things that are regarding your money in general. And so that it is necessary for you to finish up something, maybe this is about reallocating your portfolio or getting things set up so that automatic deposits can be made. Now, the challenge I think that you have is because Mars is in Gemini and you have lots of activity, it's very, very easy for you to focus on the new things rather than finishing up the old things. But it's highly recommended that you get all of this extra stuff finished, whether it's paperwork or making a decision or some other money-making opportunity that needs your attention. That's what you should be focused on. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, even though the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, the moon is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So again, we have a hidden aspect. So this is just for this 2 weeks, but this energy is allowing you to make more money through one of these sources than you usually do. Because it's one of the hidden aspects, it's not a huge amount of extra money, but it does show a little bump up in these sources, and so that's good news. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, the moon's making an out of sign trine to Mars. This is very good energy for getting a raise or getting some other real benefit from your job. If you are looking for a new job, you could make more money, get a promotion. So this is the absolute best time to reach out and talk to your supervisor. We have something, we have we have energy here that says you probably started this conversation a while ago, or you've been thinking about it, and now's the time to have the conversation. Okay, Cancer, you're doing this full moon at a critical degree in your house of relationships, partnerships, collaborations, and connections. And so this would indicate that it is time to let go of a relationship. Now, this may not be an active relationship. This may be one that you have been thinking about from your past, or something that even in passing, it felt like a connection, and then you wonder what it could have been. And so it's very challenging for Cancer energy to let go. Cancer is the crab, and it has these extremely big claws. It can really hold on tight. And so this now at the critical degree of 29 degrees says it's time to let go and release. And this may not be something that you even do in person. This may be just an emotional release where you are then allowing space in your heart to bring in somebody else. So, but it's a very strong energy that over the next 2 weeks, it would be great if you could let go of past hurts, especially connected to relationships. Now, additionally, Mars is now in Gemini, and it is going through your house of spirituality, meditation, journaling, magic. And so these are some of the methods you might try. Maybe you'll try hypnosis or tapping. Consider using a healing modality to help you release this relationship, whether you're releasing it emotionally or intellectually or physically. So the Mars is here to help you, and it's at 0, so it says try a new modality to release old energy. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon's making an out of sign conjunction with Pluto. So as soon as you release something, it creates a void and something new comes in, and this works for relationships too. And so you may feel like you don't have anybody in your life and you have released them, but nobody new is coming in. And that would be the sign that something hasn't been released yet. And so, but as you do, it does create the void, and then someone rushes in. And that's the energy that you're doing over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, even though the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, the moon's in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, so we have a hidden aspect. So that means the two of you have a chance to get to just feel more compatible and more in sync, even though it's not obvious to the world. And so that is that you might be separated but thinking about each other at the same time, or you buy the same thing at the store that they do, and you both come home with the same brand of toothpaste or something. Like there's some sort of hidden connection that you could then, focus on and strengthen your love relationship. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from the sun, which is at 29 degrees of Cancer, which says to let go of something so that you can then have the time and energy to focus on money-making activities. What you're letting go of may be an emotional thing, and it may be that you are worried about something, or that you're worried about someone else, or that your focus on relationships is keeping you so busy that you don't have time to work on your business or on getting a new job or things like that. So this is, again, it's about letting go to have something in your life that you want. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the sun's making a very nice sextile to Uranus, which means there are opportunities to make more money over this next 2 weeks. And I think that will cause your attention to shift, and that you will then focus on these money-making opportunities. Not to say that making money is more important than relationships. Oftentimes relationships are far more important than making money, but sometimes we do have to make the money so that we can pay the bills. And so that's why you're doing this energy of opportunities for making money through these sources. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, even though the sun's not making an aspect with Venus, Venus is in Leo, and Leo is ruled by the sun, and so therefore we have a hidden aspect. So this hidden aspect gives you an opportunity that may not be so obvious, but there may be an opening to talk to your boss, or your boss might bring it up, and because you're paying attention, you grab hold of that opportunity and you have the conversation that brings you more money. So the opportunity is there through the hidden aspect, and it just means pay attention because it's going to be there, and when you see that door, then you can go through it. Okay, Leo, this full moon at this critical degree in Capricorn is traveling through your area of health, well-being. This is your routines, how you basically take care of yourself on a regular basis. And the being at the critical degree means that it's time to straighten something out, or get on the good path that you've been meaning to do, or that you were on and that you have got off a little bit and now you want to get back on. So, or this is a point where you're going to feel like you've come up with a solution for something, like a once and for all solution. Or this could be the time where you are applying a solution that you had already found, but you hadn't actually implemented it yet. Now, this could also be about your work and your productivity, and it may mean that you have an important project to get done, that you may have had some trouble with a coworker, but now that is ending for some reason. And that can be because the coworker is leaving, or the coworker suddenly becomes reasonable. So we see all of these possibilities, but they're still in the same area of what's going on in your daily life that needs to be finished. That's what to focus on. Now, at the same time, Mars is now in Gemini, and it is in your house of new ideas and community and technology. And so you may find that you have more distractions than ever before. And everything looks interesting and shiny, and you want to run in multiple directions. And so the challenge here is to finish up what you need to finish so that you can go do the new stuff, rather than doing the new stuff and forgetting to finish the old stuff. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the Sun's making a semi-square with Jupiter. A semi-square aspect is it's like a square, which is where you would take action, but there's some sort of friction or something holding you back. And so whatever it is, it's not sliding easily, but it's making that kind of, terrible sound of something that is not sliding easily. And so when it comes to love relationships, that's enough friction to keep you from making a date or keeping a date, or, just even being optimistic about this. And so a semi-square energy feels compelling, like we need to do something, but then the friction stops us. And that's why it's considered a difficult aspect. So that means that if you do have a date to meet someone that, it may be hard to make the time to get there, or there's traffic, or the place you chose is really loud and you can't really talk. There could be something in the way. So you may just want to wait until outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's an entirely different story. The Sun's making a very nice sextile to Uranus. So the two of you can come together, especially if you are doing a project together, and finish it up. And so that, whatever sort of, discussion that you're having, you could also come to some sort of resolution or a decision. But you have an opportunity to feel like you are on the same page about something important. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Mercury, which is in your own sign of Leo, which says that what you need to make more money is confidence. What you need is belief in yourself. What you need is for you to propel yourself forward. This does not come from outside of you, and it doesn't help if somebody else believes in you or supports you at this time. It is about you supporting yourself and understanding that you have the ability to go and do this, that within you can find all of the energy that you need. And so it's there and you can find it. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Mercury is making an inconjunct with Uranus, which says if you do the stuff you don't want to do, then you'll make the money. The stuff you may not want to do, maybe it's the back office stuff for your business, or this is dealing with some customer service issues, or going through all of the paperwork involved in your investments, or talking to your broker. There is something that you have been not wanting to do, but if you do that, you could make more money over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mercury is making an exact square to Uranus. And that means that the two of you and your boss, could come together and you would have a momentary opportunity to bring up the raise, and that gets this conversation happening. Now, because this is full moon energy, this is probably a conversation that you already started, that there were some distractions or things in the way, and so it wasn't happening. But now it can happen. And there'll just be a sudden moment where there's an opening for you to jump in. And so all you need to do is tell yourself when you see the opening that you will say something, and then the universe will take care of the rest. Okay, Virgo, this full moon is at a critical degree in Capricorn, and it's in your area of creativity. So this could mean that you need to finish a creative project. It is in your area of children, and so maybe there's an issue with one of your kids that you need to finish up and solve. And this is also in the area of romance, which from that standpoint could mean that a romance relationship gets very intense because you are wondering whether it's going to be around, or maybe it's reaching a milestone, or something is bringing the tempo way up. And at the same time, with all of that going on, Mars is now in Gemini in your house of career, and that means that your career is heating up, and there are many opportunities perhaps within your current job or new job opportunities you could consider in the future. Mars is going to be there for a couple of months, and so this is expanded out through this time, and that means that you're going to be really busy at work while you are trying to finish up some of these other things. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Mercury's not making an aspect with Saturn, the full moon is lighting up that area. Because the full moon is at this last degree of Capricorn, this may be where you are processing or letting go of something from the past so that you can take hold of something new. So there is some energy here. It's not necessarily super strong. It is more that you're processing something internally rather than meeting somebody right now. And then when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making an inconjunct with Neptune. So there is some point of contention between the two of you that needs to be worked out. But the inconjunct says that it's not something that you expect. It is something out of the realm of what you were thinking. And it's the same on their side. Like, if you're upset about something, they don't have a clue. Or if they think they know what it is, they've not hit it. So they don't know really what's bothering you. And so communication is really, really important at this time. You can work out this issue, but you have to think a little bit out of the box about this, because whatever issue is and whoever it is, the other person hasn't figured it out. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Venus, which is in your area of spirituality and communication with the universe and magic and feng shui. And so that's what I would recommend during this time, is to get business ideas and money-making ideas, is to ask the universe. And you might do that through lighting candles or incense, or if you have feng shui cures around the house for bringing in prosperity, but you haven't touched them in a while, it's time to go refresh those cures by dusting them off, maybe shifting them. Whenever you're doing feng shui, it's the position of the object makes a difference. It's kind of like acupuncture for your house. And so if you put the needle in one spot, it makes your foot kick out, and if you put the needle in the next spot, it makes your headache go away. I mean, acupuncture is amazing. So feng shui is similar in that way, that the energy shifts continuously in the house. And so when you are refreshing a cure, one of the things you can do is just shift the cure, maybe inches to the right or left, or up or down, or a foot, or put it in a different room, and you can see some bursts of new energy. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, there's no aspect going on between Mars and Venus. And in fact, it does look like maybe there is more money going out than coming in. Perhaps you're buying some new equipment. Maybe you are investing in something, or paying for an office or some more employees. But right now, it looks like more money is going out than coming in. Of course, that energy will shift, but that will be outside this 2-week period. And then when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, the moon's not making an aspect with Venus, and so technically it's not the right time to bring this up. Now, that said, because Mars now is in your house of career, it is quite possible that you will be getting a new job, or at least have the opportunity to talk to someone at your current job about a new position. Now, this may not be during this 2 weeks, but If it does come up quite quickly, then you do want to mention this, and then the raise discussion or salary increase discussion will happen outside this 2-week period. But there are still some possibilities, but again, outside the 2-week period. Okay, Libra, you're doing this full moon lighting up your house of home, dwelling, family, and this means that you are finishing up something in this area, and that might be an important discussion with a family member, or maybe there's something regarding the house that needs to be completed, like a renovation project, or you are refinancing your mortgage, although I don't know why anyone would do that at this time. Or maybe you are signing paperwork to get a new place, or your lease is being renewed. Something is going on during this 2 weeks about your home. Now, at the same time, Mars is now in Gemini, and it's in your house of legal matters and education as well as travel. Now, Mars will be there much longer than the 2 weeks, and it is going to increase the amount of paperwork that you're doing, especially around anything that is legal or official. And so if you are dealing with a lawsuit, things could get quite busy during this time. If you're not, this may be just some contract that you're signing, or that, some things coming up for a renewal. This is also maybe dealing with travel documents or travel plans, or if you are doing something for education, this would be maybe preparing for the upcoming school year. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, you have some interesting energy here, because even though Venus is not making an aspect with Uranus, Uranus is in Taurus, which is ruled by Venus, and so therefore there's a hidden aspect. Now, with a hidden aspect, it can mean that a love relationship starts to blossom from someone you already know, and you hadn't considered them a potential for a love relationship before, but now maybe you're seeing them differently, they're seeing you differently, and so that can bring a new love into your life. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there's no aspect going on between Venus and Mars. It's almost like you are so busy doing your individual things, you're not really coming together to work on things or to help each other. And so sometimes that's okay. This is only a 2-week period. But if you find that this is something that is hurting the relationship, you'll have to take steps to really have a conversation. And even when you do, the person may be so distracted that they're not really hearing you. So I think, honestly, patience is needed with your partner, and to focus on your individual tasks that you're doing to get those done. Once you clear the decks, it'll be easier for you to connect outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Pluto, which is at 0 degrees of Aquarius, and Mars, which is at 0 degrees of Gemini, making a perfect trine. So this is an extremely powerful time for you. This is obviously, because it's full moon energy, something you've been working on already. This may involve some sort of legal structure for the business, or maybe you're contacting a lawyer or deciding whether you're going to be an LLC or something like that and getting that paperwork done. This may be about a big launch of something you've been working on for a while, as Mars is going through this area of marketing and about, being seen or having your information seen. So this is an extremely powerful time. So this is, though, full moon energy, so it's something you've already been working on, and this says lean in, because now you have the power to make something really happen. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, nor is it making an aspect with Mars, which just means that you are either making about the same as usual, or perhaps you are investing in the business and so you're showing less profits. And it makes perfect sense. If you are engaging a lawyer and signing contracts or sending out some big marketing, you probably have a lot of money going out where the customers haven't seen the stuff yet, so the money's not yet coming in. Of course, this is just for 2 weeks, and then the tide will shift and you will see then money start to flow back in. But right now, the focus is on how you're building the business or building the investments rather than the profits. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, you have some really good energy going on, because Mars, because the Sun is making a sextile to Mars and an opposition to Pluto. They are both out of sign. That's the only thing. And so with an out of sign aspect, you may have to bring this up, and your boss might say, oh, I wasn't expecting to have this conversation again. So, and I say again because this is full moon energy, so this is going to be a continuation of something you were discussing before. This is very good energy for you to get the conversation going and do some negotiation and come to a favorable agreement. Okay, Scorpio, this full moon, which is at a critical degree in Capricorn, is lighting up your area of thinking process. It's also about siblings and neighbors and short distance travel and your vehicle. But let's just start first with thinking process. And this may be the time where you, once and for all, say no more negative thinking. You know, it's hard sometimes because I know negative thoughts can creep in, and it can feel like sometimes they're even helpful because they're preparing us for what may come. But this may be a time where you try this whole, plan of no more negative thinking, not criticizing yourself, not scaring yourself, and see if you don't do better. Now, at the same time, Mars is in Gemini, and it's going through your area of resources and help from others. And this, again, is something that I think Scorpio struggles with, because oftentimes you are very aware of the strings that are attached whenever you get a favor or somebody does something for you. And what's necessary is not to find something with no strings attached, but to look at the strings that are attached and ask yourself if you're willing to pay that price. And so it looks like to me that beyond this 2 weeks, while Mars is in Gemini, you're going to have many opportunities for help and resources. And of course, they're going to come with some sort of strings. And so you want to see if what you would be obligated to do is okay with you, and if it is, then proceed. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, of course, Neptune and Pluto are still doing that sextile, but they're out of sign. Pluto now is starting to roll back, and by September, in September, it's going to be an in-sign sextile, which is going to be even stronger energy. So right now you could continue, like if you've met somebody, but you haven't actually seen them in person. Sorry, I could explain how that sentence got away from me, but that would take too long. Basically, this is full moon energy. So this is, you've already met the person in passing, or you've met them online, but you haven't come together in person. You do have an opportunity to meet them. It's an out of sign sextile, so you have to be quite deliberate about it. You can't just casually say, hey, I might meet you someplace, because then it's not going to happen. But if you say, this is the Starbucks address, this is the time, etc., then it can happen. But I just wanted to point out that this energy is going to get much stronger as we get towards September, and September, October, and November will be particularly strong for meeting someone for a love relationship. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, there's no aspect going on between Venus and Pluto, nor Venus and Mars. And the very interesting thing is Pluto's at 0 degrees and Mars is at 0 degrees. And a 0 degree energy is doing something that is new or unexpected. And so it is quite possible that you are doing something and working on something that's so new that your partner hasn't really caught up. And it even could be a change of attitude that you have. And again, your partner hasn't come to speed yet, got up to speed. And so therefore you're a little bit out of sync over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Jupiter, which is in Gemini, and now Mars is there too. And so this is kind of like, Jupiter's the map and where you want to go, and Mars is the vehicle and the rocket fuel. So that's the energy that you have, and this is going to go on for a couple of months, well beyond this 2 week period. This is in your area of resources, passive income sources, investments, having your own business. So If you haven't started your own business, this is something you might do over this next weeks or months. It is also possible you'll do more investing. So you have so many opportunities in this area. So right now it's really good during this full moon time to continue to explore these and to gain information and to weigh different choices. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, even though Mercury is not making an aspect with Jupiter, Jupiter is in Gemini, and Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so you have a hidden connection. And that means that there is some money there. There's some extra money you can make. It's not like a huge amount, but you can make a little bit more over this next 2 weeks than usual. And this comes by really looking and saying, okay, where is the profits? Where is the profits? Where are the profits? And because when it is a hidden aspect, you have to search a little bit harder. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be like a paycheck, of course, you're still dealing with that same aspect. But this time we have to recognize that Mercury is elevated in your chart, in your house of career. So this gives you a little bit of an edge. Again, there's something about it where you need to get the conversation going, and you know, your boss may pull it off track and you have to pull it back on track. This may feel like it's too difficult at this time, and this aspect will line up better in the future. So for the next 2 weeks, though, this is the energy that you have. Okay, Sagittarius, this full moon is lighting up your area of money. This is also about possessions and, you know, things you own, as well as self-worth, and that would be a sense of deserving or self-esteem. And so being that this full moon is at a critical degree of 29 Capricorn, this is indicating that you are probably finishing up a project. So maybe you are decluttering, maybe you are selling off things you don't need. Maybe it is necessary now for you really to focus on money and how you handle money and getting your budget straightened out and things like that. This could also, though, be about the fact that it is your sense of deserving or worthiness that is stopping the money opportunities. So looking at those and cleaning those out once and for all. Now, at the same time, Mars is in Gemini, now in your house of relationships, connections, mentors, teachers, people who are coming into your life. And this means many more people will be coming into your life over this next couple of months. This gives you an opportunity to hear how other people do things, especially related to how you're handling money. So you may hear of somebody and how they budget or how they invest, and that inspires you. Or you may find somebody who's willing to sit beside you and help you through step by step. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Mars is not making an aspect with Jupiter, now they're both in the same sign and they're in a relationship house for you. So this begins a longer period of time where you have many opportunities to meet someone new for a love relationship. Now, this is full moon energy, so this would be more about someone that you have known in some way, like you talked on the phone or you've been texting, and now you're going to meet in person, or some other type of relationship that now is morphing into a love relationship. So that's what can happen during this 2-week time. But this good energy for love relationships is going to last for you for much longer. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, even though Mercury is not making an aspect with Jupiter, Jupiter is now in Gemini and will be there for a whole year. Gemini is ruled by Mercury, so this is a hidden aspect. So the two of you may not see how much you are connected and where you are really strong, but over this next year, you're going to find out. You're going to find your shared goals and the common ground between the two of you. You're going to find more and more things that tie you together and help this relationship grow. So you have some great opportunities even now, although I do think that you're probably focused elsewhere because this is a full moon at a critical degree. Now, when it comes to your money, you're pulling money from Saturn, which is at the base of your chart, and this is in the area of home and family. And so this is maybe this time looking at it from the perspective, How is your home life supporting your money-making activities? Is it that your family is just saying, oh, what can we spend, rather than coming together, maybe for a family business or to do investing together? Maybe this is that you are looking at real estate or purchasing some rental property or renting out part of your home, or maybe you are gathering with some family members to pool resources together to do some sort of investing or to do a family business. But these are the sort of things that you might be talking about and thinking about over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, even though the moon's not making an aspect with Saturn, the moon is in Capricorn, which is ruled by Saturn, so you have a hidden aspect. When you have a hidden aspect, you do have to work a little bit harder to get the money, but the money is there. So this means that maybe you have to make a few extra phone calls, or you have to look through your investments to see where you could take the profits, or maybe adjust something that you've been working on, and that brings more money. But the money is there, and there is that opportunity over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn, and there is really no connection going on. And that means that it's very difficult to have that conversation with your supervisor about making more money. So it may be that your supervisor's not at work over the next 2 weeks, or you are very busy, or some things are in the way. And so this is not the best time to be asking for a raise, even if this is continuing the conversation. Even if you started the conversation, just put it off until we're outside of this 2-week period when this energy will line up better. Okay, Capricorn, this is your full moon, which marks the high point or the halfway point or the beginning of the harvest period for your lunar year. So this is a lot about taking what you have been working on and seeing how you can maximize the profits or the benefits or the good feelings or any of that from what you've been working on. Now, this full moon is at a critical degree, and so it's going to feel like you'll have to get things done, and you'll have to get them done perfectly, and there's a deadline, and that can put a lot of pressure on you. And so you want to make sure that you prioritize what you need to do during the 2 weeks, so you're not spending a lot of time trying to perfect something that doesn't have value for you. Now, at the same time, Mars is now in Gemini, and it's going to go through your house of productivity and efficiency and daily routines and how you take care of yourself and how you make your food every day and all of that. So it is to combine these two energies is to say that the things that you do on a daily basis are what creates the success. Of course, we know this, and this is especially true in the energy of Capricorn, which is the energy of putting one brick on top of another to build a building. So now Mars going through this area of your chart says that it's time to look at new ways of being productive, new ways of handling your day-to-day activities. Look at what you can streamline, what you can eliminate, what you can delegate, what you can automate. So doing that is going to change. That's the game changer for you that you could experience over this 2 weeks that then ripples out while Mars is in this house, which is going to be a couple of months and beyond. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, even though Venus is not making an aspect with Saturn, the full moon is lighting up your relationship house, and the sun is in a relationship house. So you have some energy for carrying forward with something you already began. And that is maybe you met somebody online, but you haven't actually met in person. And so now you're going to do that, or your friend told you about someone that they want to introduce you to. And so that can happen. But because there's no aspect going on between Venus and Saturn, there is a great possibility that the first date won't happen within this 2 weeks. And that's probably okay. This energy will line up better in the future. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, it's a bit of a different story, because even though the moon is not making an aspect with Saturn, the moon is in Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and so therefore you have a hidden aspect. And because there's a hidden aspect, there is some way to work out an issue or or some sort of point of contention between the two of you. You just have to work at it a little bit. You have to slow down a little bit and make sure that you dig out what the real problem is. Because there's no aspect between the moon and Saturn, it may not be so clear why your partner is upset, or even why you're upset. You may not be clear of what is really bothering you. And so you have to dig a little to get this solved. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Saturn as well as Uranus, which is making a perfect square to Mercury in a money house. There is some new information that you'll be getting, and it's probably coming up in this 2-week period that could be quite a game changer. This means that as this new information comes in, you may be reordering what you're doing, but it also could be that the new information is the contract or the offer or the thing that is going to directly lead to the money. Now, with that moon at 29 Capricorn, you're going to feel a little rush to try to get it done or signed or sealed. And of course, Mercury will go retrograde in August, and so you're probably trying to rush the clock. But make sure that you take it step by step. Don't rush, but try to get it done within the 2-week period all the same. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, the sun's making a very nice sextile to Uranus. That means you have opportunities to make more money from these areas over the next 2 weeks. When we add in the fact that Venus is there and Mercury is there, there could be multiple ways of making money. So some of the things that you've been working on all this time, and for you especially, this is not just the last 2 weeks, but this is beyond that, because this is the 6-month period of your lunar year. This could mean that money is starting to flow in because of all of the work you've been doing. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is making an out-of-sign conjunction with Uranus. Now, the only caveat here is that Mars is going to outrun Uranus. And so therefore, this energy, which is still existing now, is going to get weaker and weaker as we go forward. So during this 2 weeks, if this is a conversation you already started with your supervisor about making more money, it would be a good idea to early on bring this up again and see if you can get this conversation going. You will have other opportunities this year where the energy lines up, but it's going to take a little bit. So if you are in the process of discussing this already, you may want to bring this up earlier during this 2-week period. Okay, Aquarius, this full moon is at a critical degree of Capricorn, and it's lighting up your area of the unconscious, your shadow side, also your spiritual connection to the universe. And so this is, you are poised to make a breakthrough. You are poised to release something that has been a block, and it just takes a little bit more work, and you're going to get this done. It can come as a realization, or it can come as you see an obstacle in front of you just dissolve and melt away. Something that was hard before could suddenly be like, oh, this is easy. I know how to do this. So there is some sort of shift that's happening. This also may be a time where you are going back to a daily spiritual practice and connecting with the universe on a deeper level. So therefore, you're able to co-create with the universe. So you have some really good energy here. Now, at the same time, Mars is in Gemini and now is going to go through your area of creativity and your children and how you express yourself, as well as the risks that you take. And so you are going to feel like in a lot of areas that you're ready to move forward, like the gate is up and you can just charge forward, which is great. But it's also, there will be the temptation to spend all of this good energy on your kids and to be concerned about their issues, and even to a point of watching every single thing that they do or say, and then you're not doing the energy. You're just giving that energy to your kids. And while children are very, very important, you do need to reserve some of that energy for yourself. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, Uranus is making a perfect square to Mercury. That means that you could just walk right into this person. You could just bump together, or put your hands on the same doorknob or something like that, and you could probably reconnect with someone, because this is full moon energy. So this might be someone that you saw once before and then you reconnect with, or this is a friend and then you touch hands and suddenly there's electricity. So this is a really strong energy right now for meeting someone. So all those people you've been talking to online, try to get a meeting with them. Places that you've gone before, go back to those places and see if you can meet someone there that you have seen in passing. So this is very good energy for you for love relationships. And then when it comes to existing love relationships, the sun's making a sextile to Uranus. So you have, again, really good energy for solving problems, feeling closer, having a good time, just coming together as a united front to deal with whatever issues the world's throwing at you, and to basically have a good time together. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Neptune as well as that Jupiter, which is in Gemini. And it's the Jupiter I want to focus on this time, because Jupiter is moving forward and it is going to make a square to Saturn. This is an important part of the process of building a business or investment portfolio or doing your career, but it can be a little jarring. And that is that Jupiter's all about expand, expand, expand. But sometimes when you do that, you build a house of cards, or you build something that's very, very tall, but it's not that stable. So along comes Saturn and says, I want to stabilize this. Now, this energy is not quite here yet. You're not going to experience it in the next 2 weeks. I only mention it because when you have a lot of momentum and you feel like everything is just flowing and, you know, I'm making money hand over fist and all of that, and then suddenly you can hit a wall at 60 miles an hour, that's not good. Instead, kind of take your foot off the gas and ask yourself, what needs to be stabilized? Where is the growth so much that it's spindly and needs to be pruned? Or where has the growth expanded so much that you're just like one of those plate jugglers, you know, where they're spinning the plates and there's just too much going on? So that's the kind of energy that I want you to keep in mind over this next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from business or investments, Mercury is making an inconjunct with Neptune. That means that you're going to make more money than usual when you do something that you don't really want to do. That is, it's whatever you think of when I say, what's the stuff in your business that you don't really want to do? What is the stuff in your investment portfolio that you don't really want to do? Oftentimes that's like reading the prospectus or making a decision about something or phoning the customers or things like that, something that maybe you don't want to do, but those are the things that if you do them, you will make more money over the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to money from your career, so that's like a paycheck, there's no aspect going on between Jupiter and Neptune, although I should point out that Neptune is in Pisces and Pisces is co-ruled by Jupiter, so you all the time have kind of a hidden aspect. It's not as strong as some of the other hidden aspects that I mentioned in this video, but there is something there. And so it's always possible for you to start something, to get some sort of conversation going about making more money. But you will have an aspect lining up. I think it'll line up probably after this 2 week period, and we'll talk about that more in a future video. But right now there's some small bit of energy here, but otherwise, again, you might just want to wait until the aspect lines up. Okay, Pisces, this full moon, which is at a critical degree, which is about really finishing something or ending something, is in your area of friendships and community, as well as hopes and dreams for the future and technology. So when it comes to technology, it may just be that you are wanting to get a new phone, or maybe you have an old computer and you just need to get rid of it. Like you have to take the hard drive out, or you have to reformat it or something so that it's safe to put back out into the wild. So when it comes to the hopes and dreams for the future, though, that's a little bit more serious. And it could be that you are looking at your goals and thinking to yourself, you know what, this is not a major goal for me anymore. I think most of us have, like learn another language on our bucket list. But at some point we may say, you know what, that one's just not happening. So I'm going to put my time and energy into something else. So that could be going on where you're actually letting go of a goal because it's just not a priority anymore. And of course, in the more mundane areas, it could be that you are letting go of a friend. And that could be that you've grown apart, or they're moving very far away, or now they're in a relationship and so they're really, really focused somewhere else. Or you could be letting go of an organization, and that is maybe stepping down from the board, maybe not going to those meetings anymore because the group is taking a different path. It may be that you just need more free time, and so you can't spend so much time doing these things in groups. Now, at the same time, and interesting, that Mars in Gemini is now going through your area of home and family. So as there is maybe less connections out in the world with strangers, maybe there's a deeper connection at home or with extended family. This also may be that you're just spending more time in the home or on the home doing renovations or redecorating. Maybe you are working more in real estate and looking at rental properties and things like that. So first of all, don't get too distracted, because finishing up those things with like the organizations or the technology, those things are very important. Even looking at your goals and seeing what's a priority now. But at the same time, you do look very busy at home, and that is going to be something that is pulling your attention during this 2 weeks. Well, longer, because Mars will be there until September. Now, when it comes to love relationships, specifically new love, the moon is making a sextile to Neptune, and that is a very nice aspect for meeting someone new. So you have an opportunity to meet someone. Now, this is full moon energy, so it's less likely that you would meet a brand new person, but more reconnect to someone who maybe you spoke to online, or you saw their picture a few times and now you're going to meet them, or you saw them once, but you weren't thinking romance, and now you are. So you have some good energy around romance for the next 2 weeks. Now, when it comes to existing love relationships, Mercury is making an inconjunct with Neptune, and that means that there may be a point of contention between the two of you that is hard to unravel. The problem with an inconjunct is it's something that we're not really expecting. We don't really see it clearly. And so therefore, whatever is upsetting you, you might think that your partner knows it and understands it, but they don't. They don't get it. They're not even seeing maybe that you're upset, or they don't understand the reason, or they think it's a different reason entirely. And this could be vice versa. You could be doing the same with your partner. You could think, I know why you're upset, and you don't, because it's an inconjunct. And an inconjunct means that we have to adjust to work it out. And so there is an opportunity to come together and try to find some common ground here. Now, when it comes to your money, you have some new energy happening because Mars is now in Gemini at the base of your chart. So it says, build the foundation first. And that makes sense. If you were going to build an empire, first you want to build the foundation. So, and right now that might be deciding what a foundation is. Sometimes a foundation is that you have an emergency fund or money that is for your business so that it can grow. Or it may be the skill set. Well, what skills do you have? Do you have sales skills? Do you have tech skills? And so this is about first focusing on that before you go forward to launch or something like that. Now, Mars is going to be in Gemini for a couple of months, and so you have a lot of time to build this foundation, to make it strong, so that then you can build a monument on top of it. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Venus is not making an aspect with Mars. In fact, it more looks like more money's going out right now than coming in. That could be that you're buying equipment, that you're hiring help, that you are doing things that are that will create opportunities later. But right now, you look like you're spending money in probably a wise way for the business, but it's still more money seems to be going out than coming in. And then when it comes to money from career, so that would be like a paycheck, Mars is not making an aspect with Saturn. it is difficult to pull these energies together, which means that it's hard to get your supervisors to sit down and talk about this. They are busy, or they're absent, or you're on vacation. There is something going on here that is causing the two of you not to have a conversation about a mutually shared goal. And so it's necessary probably to just wait outside this 2-week period. This energy will line up. It's going to line up very strongly in the next, well, I didn't map it out, but in the next few weeks, we'll be talking about it. And then you're going to have your opportunity. But this time, just give it a pass. And that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want a copy of your chart, there's a link in the description. I will send you a PDF. This has a lot of information on it, other things about your chart. It lists the aspects that you're doing, moon speed, the elements, declination, and so it's a pretty good PDF. And so if you want that, then there's a link in the description, and I'll see you in the next video.